Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We will begin on the hour. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Let's go ahead and get things started. My name is Madison Koutman. I am the marketing campaign manager for GiveSmart. We are so thrilled to have you with us today. We are lucky to have two speakers joining us who are extremely well-versed in the topics that we will be covering. Kirsten Promozic, GiveSmart's product specialist, and Jen Schmidt, an incredible GiveSmart customer success manager who some of our participants today might recognize. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks, Madison.
Same.
Awesome. So we anticipate today's call going around 45 to 50 minutes, and we will be taking questions throughout the call. So please throw any and all questions you have in the Q&A box, and we'll address them if they're relevant to the topic we're talking about. Otherwise, we might save them for our Q&A section at the end. We will also be using the chat to share resources with you throughout, so keep your eyes out for those. And finally, I wanted to make sure you all know we are recording this, and we will be sending the full recording out in our follow-up email. So be looking for that in your inboxes either later today or early tomorrow. And with all of that fun stuff out of the way, let's get started. So today's agenda, we'll start off with a poll. We just kind of want to test the room and see how everyone is feeling about the end of 2021 going into 2022. And then we will go into ending 2021 on a high note, some really strong campaign examples that we've seen toward the end of the year. We'll talk about some year-end stewardship checklist items that nonprofits might want to check off their list at the end of a year. And then what's next? Some sneak peeks into 2022, some campaign examples that we've seen, and then we will wrap it up with a Q&A at the end. So let's get started with that poll. I will go ahead and launch it. And then while we are launching it and we're waiting for those answers to come in, Jen, do you mind telling me a little bit about a customer success manager role, or also known as a CSM, at GiveSmart?
Sure. So my role as a customer success manager is to be a resource for fundraising, provide strategic and industry insights, and help you get the most out of your GiveSmart platform to help you hit your goals. I speak with organizations every day, and I can provide examples of what's working and what's not. And I hope you all can take away some great information today to continue your year-round fundraising.
Awesome. Thank you. It looks like we still have a few answers trickling in. I will go ahead and end it right now. All right. Thank you to everyone who voted. So I will go ahead and share our results. Looks like a majority of you are still doing 2021 fundraising, which is incredible. That's just what we want to hear. And that's probably why you're here today. And we have some really great ideas and examples to share with you to help you reach those year-end goals. And some of you are kind of looking at a mix of, you know, the answers as far as more 2021 fundraising, or maybe you're done, or maybe you're waiting until spring. We've got great ideas. We are glad you're here, and we can go ahead and get started. So we have roughly 6 weeks left in 2021. We can't believe it either. It still feels like it's the beginning of 2020. So that's whoa. But what are nonprofits doing with the time that we have left to meet, you know, their goals, to connect with their donors, and to drive their missions? We have some ideas, but first let's start by reviewing data from the last 6 weeks of 2020. And Kirsten, what can you tell us about year-end numbers in 2020?
Yeah, thank you, Madison. Happy to kick us off here. So as we know, 2020 was an odd year, to say the least, right? And for many of us, it probably didn't go as we had planned at the start. However, something really reassuring that did come out of 2020 is the consistent trends, even when compared to pre-COVID years. Now, what this tells us is that even when the fundraising environment changes, we are still seeing consistent percentages during our end-of-year efforts. Now, even though 2021 has not ended, our nonprofit partners have already far surpassed their fundraising totals from 2020. And I, for one, cannot wait to see how their success continues to grow through the end of the year. Now, historically, from 2020 and years before, we've recognized that Q4 is the most lucrative quarter for nonprofits. Donors are more active and willing to give, and research shows that donors are still willing and ready to give an average of 4 times per year. Now, additionally, we're seeing more bids being placed during this time frame, Volunteers are actively volunteering for events. And the spirit of giving and generosity is just overall high surrounding the holidays. But what specifically did we see in the numbers during the last 6 weeks of 2020? So our nonprofit partners raised over $38 million using the platform for their end of year and holiday fundraisers. There were 1,146 fundraising campaigns or individual fundraising sites, which ran during these 6 weeks. Now, what this means is each of those campaigns averaged about $33,000. And contributing to that total were the almost 48,000 individual donations placed, the 22,000 tickets that were sold, and not to mention the 40,000 bids that were placed on silent auction items. Now, I also want to take just a really quick moment to point out one of our newer features that came out last year, which was recurring giving. This gained a ton of traction in Q4. And this feature, what it does is it allows our donors to have the option of placing either a one-time or a recurring monthly gift. We saw 380 new recurring donations placed in the month of December alone. This contributed to over $20,000 in brand new revenue for our nonprofits that they're going to continue receiving every single month moving forward. Yeah, hop to the next slide. There you go. So using those numbers we just reviewed, here's what you can do with the time we have left in 2021. We want to turn those year-end initiatives into fundraisers. You can accomplish wish lists for toy drives or angel trees, which we're going to hear more about here in a few minutes. You can turn your site into a storefront with Secret Santa shops or poinsettia and cookie dough sales. Host games like bingo or voting competitions. All of these are so easy to set up and run and take way less time and effort than those large-scale events. Now, in the chat here, we're going to be sharing a link to a jam session that we did on end-of-year fundraising with the Fighting Children's Cancer Foundation. There are some fantastic takeaways here and lessons about reaching your annual goal. But what's even better is you can take these ideas, customize them so they apply to your mission, and use them in your own creative ways. Now, we've seen our customers take ideas like a scavenger hunt and completely make it their own. So consider some of the examples we're going to talk about today. And as you plan for your 2022 fundraisers or the end of 21 fundraisers, see if you can take an idea like a poinsettia sale and turn it into a spring plant sale. Can you turn a helicopter ball drop into an Easter egg drop? Our platform caters to organizations of both a national and a local scale, so it's applicable for any shape, size, or mission. Now take these ideas that we're going to give you today and just run with them. Because our goal really is, we just want you to succeed. At the end of the day, that's what we want to see, is just you succeed. And don't forget, we are only 12 days away from Giving Tuesday, and it is not too late to get in on that action, because here's an interesting stat for you. So 35% of all Giving Tuesday campaigns that were created on the GiveSmart platform last year were created on Giving Tuesday. 35% on Giving Tuesday that morning. That's insane. And one of our most successful Giving Tuesday campaigns that brought in the most revenue was created that morning. So if you're still in need of some inspiration for your Giving Tuesday campaigns, check out this link over in the chat for last month's webinar.
Thank you, Kirsten, for enlightening us on those numbers and year-end possibilities. Those are crazy, especially that 35% on Giving Tuesday. That number is amazing, and we love seeing our nonprofit partners raise money on those really important days, especially toward the end of the year. So thank you. And Jen, I'm going to pass it over to you. Can you share some insights on holiday or end-of-year fundraisers we've seen using the GiveSmart platform?
Yes, of course. And I'm also shocked by the 35% because it just goes to show that you can get on there, set it up, share it out, and start raising money in little to no time. But what you see here is J.K. Lee City Youth Martial Arts had a holiday giving campaign in 2020. They used the GiveSmart platform in creative ways by creating a holiday storefront fundraiser. So like you saw in the previous picture, ways to fundraise, they used their campaign as a storefront fundraiser. They offered a range of items at a range of prices, including branded items like hats and sweatshirts, but also a belt rack, karate themed greeting cards, and more. items listed as instant items and could be purchased for themselves, but this is what I love. They could be purchased and donated to benefit a child in the program. How else did they maximize fundraising? They offered donations and recurring donations for any audience members who maybe didn't find an item that they wanted. I love this example because as a donor, I personally like to know where my money's going. So being able to purchase a store item and donate really speaks to me, and it's all about giving your donors options. And then, yes, this example, I love this. It's so adorable. This is Austin Pets Alive, or APA. They held their annual holiday photos events drive-through style. So it's a great use of the homepage for giving examples and instructions. It's very clear, fun. It leaves little room for confusion. And even though the screenshot is small, here's the gist of what they did. They drove up, they wait in line. When it's your turn, you get out, you stand in front of the backdrop with a pet, and you'll be sent a high quality photo. Everyone who attended also got fresh, warm cookies, and they used very empathetic messaging to pull at the heartstrings for donations. They used texting to confirm tickets for the event, and they raised a ton of money. They kept it really super fun. And I would totally do this with my toddler and dog for Christmas pictures, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. It would be so much fun. I've taken my dogs to like local like PetSmarts and stuff to have them take pictures with Santa before. So like this is an amazing idea, a great fundraising idea. And I love that they gave the attendees warm, fresh cookies as well. That is so nice. And I'll jump in on this one. So this is the Space Coast Association of Realtors, and they did a virtual angel tree. So kind of like we mentioned on the previous slide, this is our angel tree example. It was a fundraising campaign for items for individual families and their family members. The items were listed as $0 instant items in the campaign, and each image card on the items is a unique card for a child with their name, age, and what they're wishing for. So when you purchase your instant item, you're committing to purchasing that item for your angel family. You can do one, you can do multiple items, and then you can either buy them and take them to the organization, or you could even, let's say that you ended up buying the item off of Amazon, you could ship them to the organization's address as like a gift. And so it was just a really great example, very clear and concise directions with a very impactful mission statement, a really creative use of the GiveSmart platform in a way that maybe doesn't involve direct donations, but does involve your mission, and it impacts the people in your community, especially the people who benefit from it. And it just overall is a really, really wholesome, really creative campaign for the holidays.
Yeah, let me jump in here really fast, Madison,
Sure.
too, because I want to point out just really quickly is that even when you have these $0 campaigns or a campaign where the expectation is to not generate revenue, it doesn't mean that you can't still offer the opportunity for people to support your cause. Because by using the order forms on the GiveSmart platform, what this does is it allows you to offer donation options at the bottom of the form where you're offering those $0 items. And what this does is it allows for a more natural way of encouraging a donation, but provides it in a less intrusive manner, which provides the opportunity for some unanticipated revenue. And what makes this even better is that those custom order forms can be embedded in your external website. So supporters can participate all from the comfort and the familiarity of your existing webpage.
Yeah, that's a really great call out. Having those embeddable order forms for an external website would just take a campaign like this and, drive it even further with success, and just giving the donors the opportunity to donate, even if that's not your direct ask for that campaign. That's a really great opportunity for your donors to know that you're always there accepting their donations and using their money for a great cause. So that's a really great call out. And then Jen, I will pass this last example back over to you.
All right. Well, this is the Boys and Girls Club of Greenwich, which did a voting campaign for gingerbread house decorating. I mean, I love this. I kind of want to use this idea for like a family get together for the Christmas. I think that would be fun, but definitely for raising money. Each vote was $10, and they had multiple categories to vote based on age groups or grades. There were clear instructions for how to enter and how to vote, as well as how to get your own gingerbread house and enter the contest. We even have displays that you could show, who has the most votes right now, and those can also be embedded onto your homepage. So it's just very clear communication for your donors. You can use opportunities like these features to expand your base and your reach. I mean, it's $10 votes. You could do a $1 vote. You could just make it, like you guys said earlier, a $0 vote with, a chance to donate and get those revenue with the, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought right now. I'm trying to say the recurring donations. Have that definitely featured up onto your donations when you do these voting campaigns. This site isn't available to view at the moment. So if you have any other questions on this one specifically or voting contest in general, let us know in the Q&A and we can follow up with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally understand where you were going there with offering those different opportunities. You can lower your vote amount. You can offer different donation opportunities, recurring giving. You can make it a champion campaign to have, more opportunities for different donors to come in and engage different ways. So I love that. That's really awesome. So then moving into our second sort of chapter of the webinar, we had some really great examples of holiday and year-end campaigns, and they're very inspiring for this season and beyond. But whether your organization is planning a year-end or a holiday fundraiser or not, this is still a great time of year to reach out to your donors, sponsors, volunteers, and any other supporters you might have. Even if you're not doing a direct ask, just, reaching out, giving them the warm fuzzies. We have some ideas and some checklist items for your nonprofit toward these end of year sort of touch points. But first, what I wanted to talk about, which might be a little surprising, you're like, how does this connect to fundraising, is sourdough bread, or more specifically, sourdough starter. So the idea came from a roundtable with our Give Smart community members. Or they're a network of our customers that talk to each other and attend sessions with each other to go over their fundraising campaigns. And it's a really great community of customers. And one of our customers during the roundtable, she was from Best Buddies, Connecticut, suggested that a Give Smart campaign is like sourdough starter. It's a living and breathing campaign page. It's not static. If you know anything about sourdough, it takes a lot to get started, but it improves with age. So your campaign, and more specifically, your campaign's homepage, is an excellent opportunity for you to bring your community along with you before, during, and after a campaign. You shouldn't expect to just upload content onto the page, but think what information is needed at what times. It shouldn't be static. So move around your campaign, verbiage or copy, your text blocks. And, the most important thing would always be to have your call to action at the top. Make sure the next upcoming instructions or what you want them to do is clear and upfront. But once the campaign is over, your stewardship is just starting. Your homepage is a perfect opportunity for follow-ups for your supporters, thank yous to your donors, opportunities to reach out with impacts made and outcomes from the money that was donated or raised. You can add that through a mission video or a thank you video. You could send text messages and bring them back to the site to see the impact that they made. So just a really great call out that we felt that we had to include, especially as we're talking about some of these year-end checklists and ways to reach out and bring those warm fuzzies. Use your campaign homepages. Just because your event is over doesn't mean that your campaign is over. So, we listen to our customers' feedback and ideas and suggestions, and we use them. And this is a perfect example of that. And we do also have a webinar all about building the best homepage for your campaign, and that link will be in the chat. So now that we have our sourdough, let's move in to an example of an organization that did this. And Jen, this is actually one of your customers, right?
Yeah, and you're making me hungry, so thank you. But yeah, this was one of my customers. It was a school, PS 89. I loved their campaign, because it really was living and breathing all the way up until after the event, where you can see this message where they were thanking for the contributions. The whole week leading up to this event even was living and breathing, because they had a week-long event of games. They were selling tickets. I think they even had like a movie night. It was just a fun, engaging, and it was actually hybrid too. So they were involving people who wanted to attend virtually and the people who wanted to go and see the movie together. And you know, they updated their homepage efficiently every single day when they needed their constituents to know what was going on. They were able to update very easily. They provided leftover item opportunities and updated their verbiage here, where you can see what's left. They sent thank yous to their donors for their contributions, and campaigns should not be stagnant. Like you were saying, living and breathing, have updates after the event, and even send out a text message 6 months later to keep the donors engaged. Don't think of your campaign homepage as once and done. Keep engagement going when you have an easily editable page.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great example. I love that they updated it almost daily for their constituents. Like you said, that's really great. You know, it's a great driver for engagement, and it keeps people excited. It keeps them motivated. And I love that they did this. And then I love that they offered remaining items at the end as well, because sometimes you're thinking, what am I going to do with these when they're left over for my auction? Offer them, you know, in different ways. You could raffle them off. You could make them a mystery item. You could do really fun things with those. So I love that they did that. That's super fun.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like pop-up sales, 24-hour flash fire sales.
Yes, exactly. And then Kirsten, if you don't mind jumping into what some of our end of year stewardship checklist items might look like and how we might be able to do those through GiveSmart.
Yeah, of course. So, you know, something that always just needs to be on our radar, but especially during this time of year, is we should always be asking ourselves, what am I doing for my donors outside of that big annual event? And if our answer to this is, well, not much, well, you're in luck, because we have a couple of ideas, you know, for you here today. So more donor engagement means a happier donor base and more interaction and the increased potential for that return on investment. The more your donors feel appreciated and connected to your organization, the more they're going to be willing to donate their time and money for your mission. So here's a couple ways that you can reach your supporters outside of that ask environment. So you may notice that many of these coincide with your maybe existing year-end checklists, such as the thank yous and your tax statements and your impact reports. But this also means reaching out to every person, company, or organization who played a role in supporting your mission this year. And this would include, but of course isn't limited to, our donors, our volunteers, our partners, our sponsors, and really anybody who participated in the success of our organization. You want to, you know, like Madison was saying, you want to give them those warm fuzzies, and it's going to make them feel better about supporting you in the future because you've done that for them. And even if it was a restaurant that donated a $25 gift certificate to your auction, send them a thank you. Let them know how that contribution benefited your organization. And also, I know sometimes it's hard, but the more handwritten or personalized that these outreaches can be, the better. I mean, even just a little handwritten signature on the bottom of the letter makes the recipient feel extra special. So listed up here are a bunch of ways that you can format and send out these messages, many of which you can do right from the GiveSmart platform, as denoted up here by the check marks, because, you know, no one knows your supporters better than you do. So take that time to cater to your audience a little bit, to their demographics, to their preferred outreach methods, and just extend your thanks, because at the end of the day, without their generosity, reaching our fundraising goals would be absolutely impossible.
Absolutely. Yeah. And those are really great call outs. I love knowing what is possible in the GiveSmart platform, especially if it's not an ask, and how to use things like your text messages, your emails, your homepage, your additional pages that you can create, and different things like that to showcase different outreach opportunities. So that's really great. And we did have a question come through, Kirsten, that I feel like is a good question for you. Are we able to create a full donor base in GiveSmart, or is it just limited per campaign? So maybe a little bit about how users are stored in GiveSmart and how organizations can access that information?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm glad it was asked because yes, the overall users, anyone that just registered for a campaign, those registered users do live within the individual campaigns themselves. So you had to, of course, there'd be an export between the individual campaigns. However, anybody that contributed in any monetary way, so anything where there was a transaction where that they had to pay for, even if it was a $0 transaction at the end of the day, in your org hub, within the way that GiveSmart is structured, you have your individual campaigns, then you have this overarching org hub that all your campaigns live in. We do have org hub level reporting, and that's all of your transactional information. So you can pull a report of anybody that did any type of contribution across any of your campaigns for that entire year, and then you can export that list that way. So in that regard, you can export kind of that full overarching list of anyone that actually supported you in a monetary manner across the year. However, those that didn't participate in any monetary contributions, they would still live in those individual campaigns, which are still fully exportable as well. It's just that if it didn't end in a transaction, they're not going to live at that org hub reporting capability.
Yeah, that's really great to know. That was a really great question. And speaking from GiveSmart customer experience, I was a previous customer. Having the users in the campaigns as well as in that org hub based on, like you said, transaction, it makes it a lot easier to be able to reach out to them and to keep them in the system. So I know I can go in and text them or email them and contact them. I have all of their information in the system. And I think it's organized really, really well for customers to use that information to reach out to their donors when they need to. So thank you for that question. And thank you, Kirsten, for the great answer. And then moving into this next slide, we're just going to take a quick pause before our last section of the webinar, which is all about creative thinking for 2022. So really quickly, we want to take the pulse of the room. If you're considering GiveSmart or you're looking for ways to enhance your use of fundraising software, let us know if you'd like any of the options in this poll that I'm launching right now. After all, we are here to help you, and the only way we can know how to help you is to ask. So if you want a conversation with a GiveSmart representative, or if you want more information on GiveSmart promotions on the platform, let us know. We are very happy to help and to get you connected with the right information. I'll just give it a few more seconds. All righty. Thank you to everyone who answered that poll. And there will be a second opportunity for a survey at the end when you tell us, how you thought about today's, or everything that you thought about today's webinar, how you think it went, what you think. So you'll have another opportunity if you didn't get it during the poll to ask us questions and to give us feedback. So thank you, everyone. And let's continue into the next section. So new year, new ideas, new opportunities, and potentially new events. How can you end 2021 to set yourself up for success in 2022? So first off, let's take a moment to think about everything your organization has done to persevere through almost 2 years of uncertainties, changes, and lots of lessons learned. As we approach 2022 and we start planning for in-person events again, we don't want to forget what we've learned from 2020 and 2021. Things like adding hybrid options to your auction via live stream or making your event as contactless as possible with check-ins and item pickups. Next month, we will be talking about these lessons learned, best practices, and the best of the best campaigns we've seen over 2 years of turbulent times. You don't want to miss it. We're popping the registration link for that webinar in the chat right now. But we wanted to include a couple of great spring campaign examples we've seen that can get you thinking about some of these new exciting possibilities in early 2022 and how you can take some of these changes and lessons and put them into your 2022 campaigns. So Jen, can you get us started on this first example?
Yeah, so I have a couple examples here. This one is a Super Bowl, Raffle, Sup-Paw-Bowl, Raffle. It's cute. It's really cute. I love this idea. It's easy to set up and get going as a revenue enhancer on an already planned event. So all of you guys who are planning your gala, this is something that you can start it off with, kind of get it kick-started. It's something that your community can share as well. Maybe create enablement materials around it to make this an easy to expand reach. I've also seen tailgating events at drive-in movies and home parties around football. This campaign specifically raised over $1,000 for just a raffle, and I love that. The campaign link is avhstv.givesmart.com if you guys want to check it out. And then the next example that I have is one of my customers that I've worked closely with. It's a charity golf. It's CEFCO, Convenience Stores Hackers Are Us. This is their annual event. Going back to the sourdough moment, how can you utilize the homepage for multiple things? They started, with tickets, and then they had this helicopter ball drop item for purchase that they had available weeks before their event. And I think that really opened up more opportunities for gaining revenue for their fundraising and hitting their goals. There's so many different examples of golf events and creativity that has skyrocketed since 2020. We've even seen hybrid golf events using apps. And Madison, wasn't that your organization when you were a customer?
Yeah, actually, when I was a customer, I was a part of the Oxford Kids Foundation, and we shared the webinar episode that I did before I was with GiveSmart. When I was still with Oxford Kids Foundation, we did a hybrid golf event using an app called TDJ Golf, and it was hybrid. So they golfed in person, but then at their own golf course from anywhere in the country. They put their score in the app, and they were able to compete with everyone in our fundraiser. And they were able to not only compete their scores, but they were also able to select a team of pros that they could compete with, and it would all contribute to their overall score. And it was a ton of fun. Like I said, if you're interested in learning more about it, I know that some people actually took our idea from that event and did it for their own organizations after seeing our webinar. So that was really exciting for the organization. So yeah,
Nice.
that link.
What was that app called again?
TDJ Golf.
Nice. I love the competitiveness around that. I think, that definitely drives people and motivates people to do more and to get more involved.
Absolutely.
Well, as you can see here, there was a unique use of the order form. It was a button on the homepage for this organization, and it was the helicopter ball drop. They did a buy now, so you were able to open their campaign, like I said earlier, starting to sell them weeks before their event, but also the day of their event. I remember them using a QR code. So outside, randomly, there would be a QR code where the donors could just scan it, purchase their helicopter ball drop in the moment, and be done with it. It's a great use of the items page, a raffle for ball drop, these order forms, survival kit, a la carte, mulligans, pro shots as instant items are another example. And even additional auction items for golf and sports related items can be put onto your homepage. So it's just really easy for your donors to click and get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And the campaign link for this one will also be in the chat. So really, really great example of an awesome campaign with a ball drop. I love that.
And golf events are year round. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as we're looking toward 2022 and trying to get creative and use some of what we've seen and what we've learned, this is a really great example. So yeah, and then so that's our last example for today. We're going to move into takeaways, and then we will jump into our Q&A. So just as we wrap up today, remember that there's still time to make 2021 a record year. Take time to reach out to your supporters this season. I'll say it again, give them those warm fuzzies, even if it's not an ask, thank them, tell them their impact and how they have impacted your organization in 2021. And then let's make 2022 the best year yet and start brainstorming now. Like I said, we'll have next month's webinar and we'll have the registration link again a little bit later on, but think about how we can make 2022 the best year based on the lessons that we've learned and the things that we've seen, keeping hybrid a thing, and really enabling our organizations and our donors to do more and be more successful. And so moving into the Q&A, Jen, I will throw this one to you. We had someone ask about bingo examples. I can think of some that I have seen, but as far as bingo examples in GiveSmart, do you have any advice that you'd like to give or any fun ideas that you've seen?
Yeah, so for bingo specifically, I know that there was a customer of mine who sold registration or tickets on the GiveSmart platform. All of their communication was done through the GiveSmart campaign. And then they did the bingo on another site where, because GiveSmart doesn't have the feature for a bingo card, but you could sell the bingo cards on the site as instant items or even just registration, like I said. I've also seen like trivia night the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also more on voting campaigns. So Kirsten, could you talk a little bit more about how voting works and some other examples that we've seen of voting campaigns?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the voting feature is fun because it can be used for many different reasons and use cases. One of the great ones last year was a sidewalk chalk art competition where the community came together and you could submit images of your sidewalk chalk art, and then they would upload it as a vote item, and then people could vote on it and their favorites and that kind of thing. And each vote was just a couple dollars. But it was just a fun and unique way, especially because this was during 2020 where people couldn't get together and this is right towards the beginning of the lockdown, and it was just a way to keep the community together, keep them feeling involved and that they could participate in something fun, even if it was from the comfort of their own home. And of course, it had the added benefit of making the community kind of beautiful. As you drove around, you got to see all these fun pieces of sidewalk art. Other use cases for the voting feature that we see a lot are, dancing with the stars competitions. So all of the child's dance academies and that kind of stuff, they vote for your favorite dancer, support your favorite dancer. Oh my gosh, there's just so many that, and through the years, one of the ones that I used to work every year, which was a fun one, was a Kentucky Derby one. So they had all the horses up there, and that's kind of you were voting on who you thought was going to win. And then depending on who the three final horses were, if you voted for those three final horses, then you got put into a raffle at the end. So it was just kind of a unique
love that.
Yeah, it was kind of like a fun, two-tiered, way of using that voting feature, along with a pre-organized and pre-planned event, which was, of course, the Kentucky Derby. So there's so much potential with the voting, and it can really easily be integrated into any campaign that you're already, going to be running.
Mm-hmm.
And it just has, the potential is limitless, and it's only limited by your own imagination, which I unfortunately sometimes lack. And I'm always surprised by the amount of creativity that our customers have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kirsten, I really thought you were going to say they were going to vote on hats when you said Kentucky Derby.
No, but that would have been just as good. I did work another one where they had the local organizations or local sponsors decorate a mop as a horse. So they had to dress up a mop and submit it. And so you got to vote for your favorite mop horse. And then, of course, towards the end of the evening, they rode the mop horses in a mock Kentucky Derby. So that just added to the humor and the fun of the entire night. So
that's hilarious. I love that. So a couple more questions that just came through. And I guess this could go for either of you based on your experience. Are gaming licenses required per each state for games, raffles, voting, etc.?
I know, historically, each state has their own rules and regulations, and obviously we don't. We tell all of our customers and our nonprofits that we work with, to ensure that they're following the state laws and regulations surrounding any raffles or money generating games. So as long as, your organization is aware of whatever those regulations are for your state, and then you're in compliance with those, then yes, 100%, use it. You can sell it on the platform, et cetera. It's just you do need to just make sure that you look at it, your state regulations before deciding to do any of those things, because not every state has them, and each state is a little bit different that does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really great. I know here in Michigan, when I was trying to figure out if we were going to do raffles and stuff, there were quite a few guidelines that we had to work around. So it's definitely worth it to look into what your state and local guidelines are, and follow those rules, get those permits if you need them, just to make sure that you are checking off all of the boxes on your list, just in case. And then Jen, I will throw this one to you. We want our board members to become more involved. Do you have any ideas? I think that's
I
a great
do.
question.
So yeah, one of the features that GiveSmart has is called Champions. It's our peer-to-peer, where really the organization has their board members create their own fundraising page, and then the board members will go out into their own networks and help raise money on behalf of the organization. This is really fun because you can have this, started up when you start selling tickets. It could just be something that is happening while you're selling tickets, you're getting your campaign ready to go, leading up to the gala. I've also seen this with the construction workers. So I have an organization who has 6 teams of construction workers, and he really wanted them to compete against each other. So he used the peer-to-peer, and I know I'm kind of digging into peer-to-peer now, but it's the same idea where you have these pages where they can go out and raise money on your behalf, and be able to have like a friendly competition. No one needs to shave their head, but I always encourage it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I think anytime that you can empower your donors, empower your board members and your volunteers, by asking them to do different things, like do a champion campaign, or asking them to help gather items for your auction, or different things like that, can really help empower your board members and get them more involved, and make it fun for them as well. Because at the end of the day, we all want to have fun while furthering our missions. And I think that that's really great. So I think that wraps up what we have for questions. I will go forward and just remind you guys, our December webinar is going to be The Best Is Yet to Come. It's going to be looking at lessons learned from 2020 and 2021, going forward into 2022, what we've learned, how to, make your campaigns the best they can be as we return to large annual events, in-person events. So definitely register for that. And even if you can't make it, register anyways. You'll get the recording link just like you will today with this webinar. And we'll make sure that you get all the information that you need. And then most importantly, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you again to Kirsten and Jen. This was a really, really fun webinar. I think we had some really great information in here, and I appreciate you guys extending your expertise for all of us.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, and so with that, we will see you all next time.
Thank you.